Silent house. There is something intoxicating about fear. The way it seeps into your bones, paralyzing you, consuming your thoughts. I know this because I have seen it in others, felt it in their quivering breaths, seen it in their wide, terror-stricken eyes. My name is Gabriel, and I am the one who brings the darkness. This is my story. It started with a house, an old, creaking mansion on the outskirts of town, abandoned and forgotten. The townsfolk called it haunted, a place where spirits roamed and shadows whispered. They told stories of those who entered and never returned, of screams that echoed through the night. It was perfect. I had always been fascinated by fear, by the way it could control people, break them. As a child, I had watched horror movies, devoured scary stories, but they had never been enough. I wanted more. I wanted to create my own horror, to watch as people crumbled under the weight of their own terror. The house became my canvas. I spent weeks preparing, studying the layout, setting traps, creating an atmosphere that would drive anyone who entered to the brink of madness. It was an art form, one that I took great pride in. I started with small things, objects moving on their own, doors creaking open, whispers in the dark. It was enough to unsettle anyone who dared to enter, to plant the seeds of fear. But I wanted more. I wanted to see them break. The first to enter was a group of teenagers, thrill seekers looking for a scare. They laughed as they approached the house, their bravado masking their underlying fear. I watched from the shadows as they entered, my heart pounding with anticipation. It started slowly, the lights flickering, strange noises coming from the walls. I watched as their laughter turned to nervous giggles, then to silence. They huddled together, their eyes darting around, searching for the source of the disturbances. I moved through the house silently, unseen, manipulating the environment to increase their fear. A sudden bang here, a shadowy figure there. They jumped at every sound, their fear palpable. It was intoxicating. One by one, they began to break. The bravest of the group, a boy named Alex, tried to let them out, but the house had become a labyrinth. Every door they tried led them deeper into the darkness. Panic set in, and I reveled in it. I isolated them, picking them off one by one. A girl named Sarah was the first to go, her screams echoing through the house as I dragged her into the darkness. The others searched for her, but found only blood and shadows. Their fear became desperation, and they turned on each other, blaming one another for their predicament. It was beautiful, watching as their bond shattered, as they tore each other apart. By the time the night was over, only Alex remained. He was broken, a shell of the confident boy who had entered the house. He wandered the halls, calling out for his friends, his voice hoarse with fear. I watched him, savoring the moment, before finally revealing myself. He screamed when he saw me, his eyes wide with terror. I approached him slowly, savoring the fear in his eyes, the way his body trembled. I could have ended it quickly, but I wanted him to suffer, to feel the full weight of his fear. In the end, he begged for mercy, but there was none to be found. I left him in the darkness, his screams echoing through the house as I walked away. It was a masterpiece, a perfect symphony of fear and despair, but it was only the beginning. The thrill of that night stayed with me, a hunger that could not be sated. I wanted more. I needed more. The house became my hunting ground, and I had silent predator. The next to enter were a young couple, looking for a thrill. They had heard the stories, but dismissed them as legends. They were confident, assured that they could handle whatever the house had to offer. They were wrong. I watched them as they explored the house, holding hands, their laughter filling the halls. It was almost a pity to break them, but the hunger was too strong to resist. I started with the usual tricks, the flickering lights, the strange noises. They brushed it off at first, but I could see the fear growing in their eyes. I separated them, leading the girl, Emily, deeper into the house, while her boyfriend, Mark, searched for her. I watched as Emily's fear grew, her calls for Mark becoming more frantic. She stumbled through the darkness, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. Mark, on the other hand, tried to stay calm, his rational mind searching for an explanation. But the house had no rationality, no logic. It was a maze of shadows and whispers, and it swallowed him whole. I played with them, letting them catch glimpses of each other, but never allowing them to reunite. Their fear fed me, filled me with a dark, twisted joy. I watched as Emily's hope faded, as she realized that she was truly alone. When I finally revealed myself to her, she screamed, a sound that echoed through the house, sending shivers down my spine. I approached her slowly, savoring the terror in her eyes. She tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. I caught her easily, her struggles weak and futile. Mark heard her screams and came running, but it was too late. He found her lifeless body in the darkness, and his mind shattered. He fell to his knees, sobbing, his cries of anguish filling the house. I left him there, broken and alone, his mind lost to the darkness. It was another masterpiece, another perfect night, but the hunger still gnawed at me, a constant, insatiable need. Over the years, many entered the house, and none left. Each night was a new creation, a new symphony of fear. I became a legend, a ghost story told around campfires. But the truth was far more terrifying than any story. One night, a group of paranormal investigators arrived. They were professionals, armed with cameras and equipment, confident in their abilities. They believed that they could uncover the secrets of the house, that they could capture the spirits on film. I watched them set up their equipment, their voices filled with excitement. They had no idea what they were walking into. I let them get comfortable, let them believe that they were in control. It started with the usual tricks, the flickering lights, the strange noises. They recorded everything, their cameras capturing the growing fear on their faces. But I had something special planned for them. I led them deeper into the house, separating them, isolating them. Their equipment picked up strange signals, ghostly whispers, but they couldn't find the source. They were chasing shadows, and the shadows were leading them to their doom. One by one, I broke them. The leader of the group, a man named Peter, was the last to fall. He was determined, refusing to give in to the fear, but even he couldn't resist the power of the house. I watched as his mind unraveled, as he realized that there was no escape. In the end, they were all lost to the darkness, their cameras recording their final moments. The footage would be found later, a chilling testament to their fate, but no one would believe it. It would become another ghost story, another legend. The house remained my sanctuary, my hunting ground, but the hunger never went away. It grew stronger, more demanding. I needed more, always more. Then, one night, something changed. A young woman named Anna entered the house. She was different from the others, her eyes filled with a determination that I had never seen before. She moved through the house with purpose, as if she knew what she was looking for. I watched her, intrigued. She seemed to be searching for something, her movements precise and deliberate. I started with the usual tricks, but she didn't react like the others. She remained calm, focused. I led her deeper into the house, trying to break her, but she was unyielding. She called out, not in fear, but in defiance. I know you're here, she said, her voice steady. Show yourself. Her words sent a shiver down my spine. No one had ever spoken to me like that before. I revealed myself, stepping out of the shadows. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. You don't have to do this, she said, her voice steady. You can stop. Her words struck a chord deep within me, a long-forgotten part of myself stirring. I felt a flicker of something, a faint glimmer of humanity, but the hunger was too strong, too deeply ingrained. I approached her slowly, my eyes locked on hers. She didn't flinch, didn't back away. Please, she said softly, let me help you. Her words tore at me, a battle raging within. I wanted to stop, to let her go, but the hunger was too powerful. I reached out, my hand trembling, but something held me back. In that moment, I saw myself in her eyes, not the monster I had become, but the person I once was. I saw the pain, the loneliness, the fear that had driven me to this, and I realized that she was right. I didn't have to do this. I could stop. I stepped back, my mind reeling. The house seemed to shift around me, the shadows retreating. Anna took a step forward, her hand reaching out to me. You can be free, she said softly. Just let go.